If we look at some of the greatest Spanish maestros of all time, many of you will think Xavi, Iniesta, or David Silva. But while you may be correct, what if I told you that despite their greatness, statistically, all three fall behind another? One who during their primes was only a few years younger, but nonetheless just as brilliant, composed, and skilled. No other than the all-time assist leader in Spanish footballing history, Cesc Febregas. Fabregas had the uncanny ability to deliver the decisive, direct assist, because while many of the other all-time great midfielders of his generation mostly played the balls that led to the assist, it was always Cesc Febregas who knew where to place that one final pass. And in his early years, he and Ozil were on pace to become the greatest assisters the game had ever seen, far outpacing everyone before them at the same age. But all of a sudden, his career slowed down dramatically. So what ever happened? Fabregas was a footballing prodigy from a very early age. Before he was even in his teens, he was snapped up by the famed La Masia Academy, Barcelona's renowned youth development center, joining the ranks of their historic young talent and being a part of their iconic class of 1987 with Gerard Piqué and Lionel Messi. The young Fabregas soaked up knowledge like a sponge, fine-tuning his passing, dribbling, and tactical playmaking. As Fabregas rose through the youth ranks, it became increasingly evident that he was destined for greatness. His performances were exceptional, and he showcased maturity beyond his years. It was no surprise that he was already attracting attention from top clubs across Europe. He and Messi would destroy their opponents, it wasn't even fair. But it was Arsenal that saw the potential in Fabregas and decided to take a gamble on the young Spanish prodigy. Their belief in him and promise of playtime is what really sold the young maestro. So in 2003, at the age of 16, Fabregas made the life-changing move to North London. Fabregas' transition to English football was seamless. Despite his young age, he displayed the composure and confidence of a seasoned veteran. And coach Arsene Wenger saw something special from Fabregas, entrusting the youngster with significant responsibilities from the very start. In the 2004-05 season, Fabregas made his Premier League debut, and it didn't take long for him to make an impact. Fabregas' footballing IQ was just well beyond his years, and he was soon recognized as one of the most exciting young talents in world football, even becoming the youngest goal scorer in league match history for Arsenal. At just 18 years old, Cesc Fabregas would make a total of 50 appearances for Arsenal. Like, when was the last time you saw an 18-year-old in the Premier League having that much playing time? Regardless, he was proving all the doubters who criticized him because of his age wrong, as match after match he would slowly start to win the hearts of every Gunner supporter. But the 2005-06 season was a heartbreaking one for Arsenal. They would make it to the Champions League final with Fabregas even starting versus his hometown club of Barcelona. As young as he was out there battling it out versus his seniors like Xavi and Iniesta, to which not even Messi saw a single minute of that UCL final. Ultimately, they would lose 2-1 as Eto's goal scoring just gave too much momentum to Barcelona for Arsenal's weaker defense to handle. Nevertheless, the young Fabregas did not once look out of place. But the following 2006-2007 season, he would level up even further and finish with the second highest number of assists in the league at 19 years old. He would also win the Golden Boy Award as one of the brightest young talents in the world. And insanely enough, as a teenager, he would also be nominated for the PFA Player of the Year award and to be named Arsenal's Player of the Season. Fabregas was no longer just a young prodigy. He was a certified hotshot maestro, and the world was taking notice. Then in the 2007-08 season, at 20 years old, he was nominated for the PFA Player of the Year award for a second consecutive year. And it was fair to say that he was the most exciting young regista to watch in the entire Premier League. The Fabregas hype was very much justified. Then in the 2008-2009 season, his leadership and maturity also started to show as he was named Arsenal's captain at 21 years old, a testament to the respect he had amongst his peers and their belief in his ability. Honestly, looking at Cesc Febregas and what he was doing at the age of 21 as the captain of a Premier League club as big as Arsenal is pretty insane. That really just shows you how talented he was. He looked like a world-class veteran out there, running the offense so composed and rarely ever making a bad play. And I'm sure those of us who played before know the feeling of apologizing to our teammates after making a bad pass or play. But thankfully, today's sponsor can help you avoid this and become a more confident and calm player on the pitch. Be Your Best is football training in virtual reality, and it's made by a team of footballers and technology experts from Norway, helping you to improve your cognitive performance. The main skill that Be Your Best trains is your scanning, but it's also used to improve players' vision, decision-making, and memory, allowing you to train these difficult skills from home anytime you want. Be Your Best has even been used by the German U17 squad, who just recently were crowned champions of the 2023 U17 European Championships, with virtual reality being a huge part of their training program. In Be Your Best main training mode called Scenario Training, you'll play through over 800 scenarios created from real-life professional games, like this one featuring Modric. You'll be on the field playing the game from a player's first-person perspective as you complete scenarios and receive feedback for your performance. They've also just released a secondary training mode called Match Play, which aims to replicate the experience of a real-life match. This mode gives you complete control over your movements both on and off the ball, helping you to improve your all-around positional awareness. Be Your Best has been used by amateurs and professional players all over the world, with Arsenal star Martin Odegaard even having trained with it during his injury, with a recent 9-week study seeing players who trained with it improve their scan rate by 28%. And you can get 15% off your first month or first year by using my code Raymar15 at checkout. Just go to beyourbest.com to get started. The link is also in the description. Fabregas' playing style at Arsenal was electric, and unlike his Barcelona seniors, he was a much less conservative passer. And the one thing he did best was find the perfect pass to set up the goal directly. And the thing about Fabregas is he could truly play anywhere in the midfield, but where he really exceeds was at the central midfield, as he was both a goal-scoring threat, could set up the attack from the front, and what he did better than even Xavi and Iniesta was the ability to create major chances even from as far as the back line. Even compared to the other Spanish midfielding greats like Xavi, Iniesta, and David Silva, Fabregas was just a much better scorer. And when he was with Arsenal, Fabregas orchestrated stunning team goals, threaded pitch-perfect passes, and scored some insane goals with his exceptional long-range shot. But really, it's when Fabregas represented Spain that he played at his absolute best. He was the youngest of players like Xavi, Iniesta, David Silva, and Xabi Alonso, but nevertheless just as important as the heart of Spain's midfield dominance. And without him, it's possible that Spain would not have become as big of a dynasty as they did. In the 2008 Euros, Fabregas showcased his brilliance as a young player, being the youngest player to be included in the Euros team of the tournament at 21 years old, creating assists and scoring crucial goals to help advance them to the final. Other than Sergio Busquets, who played a more defensive role, Fabregas was really the youngest player out there with the most impact, having equal or more often even more than that of Xavi, Iniesta, and David Silva. Then 2 years later in the 2010 World Cup, of course it would be no other than Spain's future all-time assist leader, Cesc Febregas, to make the game-winning assist to Andres Iniesta in the World Cup final against the Netherlands, winning his country's first ever World Cup final. And of course, in the 2012 Euros, Spain would just destroy everyone, with Fabregas providing several assists and once again being named in the team of the tournament. But anyways, back to his club career. After the 2010 World Cup, his childhood club of Barcelona would reach out to sign him, and thus Fabregas bid goodbye to Arsenal. Fabregas created 466 major goal-scoring chances, with a total of 86 assists and 48 goals, with all three statistics topping that of Xavi and Andres Iniesta in the same time period, with the two having even several seasons and a lot more appearances ahead of Fabregas. Fabregas would once again join his La Masia teammates and seniors. However, Pep Guardiola had completely different ideas for Cesc Febregas. Many, including myself, believe that Fabregas was not used to his maximum ability in Barcelona, something that Fabregas himself acknowledged. Pep Guardiola would switch him around very often, even playing him as a winger for many matches. When Fabregas played with Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets in Spain, he had no problem adjusting, but Pep Guardiola did not give him enough of a pivotal role. And the insane thing about this is that Fabregas still got more assists than Xavi and Iniesta in the same time period. The easiest way I can explain it to you guys is this. I genuinely believe that if Cesc Fabregas was in his prime today, playing under Pep Guardiola in Man City, he would do an even better job than what Kevin De Bruyne is doing right now. The only issue is that he never had the role that Kevin De Bruyne had. That's because his system just worked a lot more differently. Had Fabregas been allowed to run the offense and replace, let's say, Xavi, I'm very confident that his assist numbers would be even greater. And after Guardiola left, Fabregas' future managers would relegate him to playing more of a deeper midfield role, which forced him to get in on less of the action and resort to getting assists from the back line and long through balls and passes, which again, surprisingly, he was still able to do, despite having a less pivotal role. Just imagine what he could do with Messi if Barcelona's roster was just slightly different and he could really play that central attacking midfield role that he really played best. And while he did win silverware and have success with Barcelona, it's still a complete shame that his prime years were really wasted in denying him the role that he played best. Then finally, in 2014, Fabregas decided to go back to the Premier League. In his words, he wanted to be happy playing the role that he loved most, where in Barcelona he wasn't able to have that same role that he had in Spain, despite being just as capable as Xavi. But then again, Barcelona did not want to budge for their long-time veterans. In the 2014-15 season, Fabregas would help Chelsea win the Premier League title and a League Cup, once again bringing beautiful passes and assists to the Premier League. Even though he lost a lot of athleticism due to injuries in his time with Spain and Barcelona for the last few years, he was still nonetheless just as brilliant. Then once again in the 2016-17 season, Fabregas would win a second Premier League title with Chelsea and became the fastest player in Premier League history to ever record 100 assists, breaking Ryan Giggs' record with 74 less matches. That's absolutely insane. And by this time, Fabregas was definitely out of his prime. Then in the following 2017-18 season, Fabregas would help Chelsea win the FA Cup, being absolutely brilliant in all 90 minutes of the final. However, sustained injuries he would accumulate through his time at Chelsea really left Fabregas aging at a very quick rate. Not only was his athleticism declining, but also his agility, flexibility, and his legs just started to give out a lot earlier than his compatriots, ending his final careers in Monaco and spending a single season in Italy. It's really sad to see the insane genius and rise of Cesc Febregas, to watching his prime being wasted, and to see him declining rapidly as he got a little older. Regardless, at his best, I hope that none of you forget that Cesc Febregas could really stand up there with history's greatest. Truly one of the most underappreciated maestros the game has ever seen.